As election season ramps up, President Trump and his motorcade will be making more stops across the nation. But that motorcade is more than just a few cars and security detail. It's a precisely choreographed 40 to 50 vehicle armada of bulletproof glass, steel, and high-tech weaponry. But with the presidential motorcade, there is more than meets the eye. Underneath this elegant fleet of vehicles is a contingency plan designed to keep the president safe against any possible threat or attack. This is the anatomy of the presidential motorcade. The U.S. president is constantly on the move. From town halls to debates, the president can sometimes visit up to 3 different cities in a single day. That means that there needs to be 3 separate motorcades set in place for when the president arrives. President Theodore Roosevelt is said to be the first president to use a car in an official capacity, when he paraded through Hartford, Connecticut in 1902, in a handsome Victoria automobile. In 1941, after the United States entered World War II, the Secret Service increased protection by utilizing the first armored limo for President Franklin Roosevelt. That exact limousine was rumored to belong to infamous gangster Al Capone. It was previously seized by the Treasury Department on an income tax evasion charge in 1932. After the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, the Secret Service further increased security for motorcades. The presidential motorcade is stocked with numerous customized cars, as well as the cars they've rented in town. The amount of cars needed is often determined by how well equipped the local force of that city is. The motorcade includes at the very minimum a vehicle for the protectee, aka the president, vehicles for their security personnel, and vehicles for local or state law enforcement support. The configuration changes depending on the mission and what they have at hand in each city. At the center of the whole operation is, of course, the presidential limo, which carries the president, a few Secret Service agents, and other high-ranking personnel and family members. There are only about 16 to 20 U.S. presidential limousines that exist, but just because you see a limo does not mean the president is inside of it. There are decoys within the motorcade to further protect the president. The current presidential limo used by President Trump is known as the Beast. It's a Cadillac hybrid that has, like previous models, bulletproof glass, a supply of the president's blood type, and an independent air supply to thwart a chemical attack. The Secret Service details, communication vehicles, and other cars, which are mostly heavy-duty SUVs, follow the presidential limo. The rear of the motorcade includes members of the press, an ambulance, and more local police to accompany them. Here is an example of a configuration. The route car and pilot car at the front are just minutes ahead of the presidential motorcade and are checking the route and then providing information and guidance for the rest of the cars. Next up are the sweepers, which are usually police on motorcycles helping to maintain the speed and further provide intel to the vehicles. The lead car is the main car of the motorcade formation. It works again as a guide and an added buffer for whatever is ahead of the motorcade. Then comes the presidential limousine, often named the stagecoach or spare. It rides at the very center of the package and is equipped with a contingency plan for any type of attack that could happen. In some cases, if they are traveling overseas to more dangerous locations with questionable road conditions, the entire motorcade might be made up of these beasts. Behind the Beast comes the security detail SUV, called the Halfback, which carries the president's security protective detail. They are the first line of defense should something happen while en route and are equipped to act immediately. Typically, you'll see a rear-facing third row that has one armed Secret Service agent sitting with the window or tailgate open, completely unconcealed. Next up in line is the electronic countermeasure vehicle called the Watchtower. It is there to provide a laser warning or radar warning for the rest of the vehicles. Control and support vehicles follow close behind, transporting high-value staff, such as members of the president's cabinet, their personal security detail, as well as the president's doctor. Next up are counter-assault team vehicles nicknamed the Hawkeye Renegade. The CAT is composed of very carefully selected elite Secret Service operators. They are a direct action unit designed to react quickly to attacks or set up defense when a warning is received. Then comes the Intelligence Division vehicle, aka the ID car, which communicates with other units. Followed by the Hazard Material Mitigation Unit, which is a giant black work truck that carries sensors and gear to detect and respond to nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons attacks. Lastly comes the press vans, the communications agency vehicle, the ambulance, and rear guards, which are usually just a bunch of local police vehicles that provide a buffer for the rear of the motorcade. The Secret Service runs the whole operation and are masters at what they do. They know exactly how to organize the motorcade to optimize their strengths against their potential enemies' weaknesses. Those agents who are driving in the presidential motorcades have received extensive training and are constantly researching and rehearsing the motorcade's various routes. Since they're not renting every single car that is in the motorcade, that means that they need to find a way to transport their cars, which they usually do with a USAF Heavy Transport, aka the world's biggest military transport aircraft. As you can see, the presidential motorcade is an extremely elaborate plan. So the next time you're driving down the highway and you see a presidential motorcade coming through, stop and take a look and see if you can locate all of the vehicles that we mentioned. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And ring the bell below, that way you're notified whenever we post a new video.